Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bracket Buster contest. This is our second annual contest. We had a great time last year in the inaugural contest we did based on the NCAA basketball tournament. This is Matt Tour checking in. We got Chris Reynolds next to me here. Welcome aboard, Chris. Glad to have you on the team this year.
Glad to be here, Matt.
That's good to hear. We have a lot of teams this year. We have 360 teams we'll be handing out today, so this might take a few minutes to get all these handed out. We did have 193 qualifiers, which is up about 35% from last year, so it's great to have so many people involved. We appreciate everyone's business, and we're looking forward to getting this started tomorrow. Everybody should be tuning into the basketball games. They start at 11:30 a.m. Central, so let's make sure you root on your teams you are assigned. We're going to go ahead and start right now. I'm going to go through about 10 teams, and Chris is going to go through 10 teams. We'll kind of switch it back and forth, and that way we can save our energy throughout the announcements. So glad that everybody can join us here. Right now, Alan B. has Texas Tech. Alex C. has Northeastern and Ole Miss. Anne-Marie O. has Ohio State. Bradley, Buffalo, Montana, Michigan, Maryland, Kansas, and Georgia State. So as you can tell, Anne-Marie did a great job. She qualified for 8 teams. What we do here is everyone that qualifies for a team has to be the life insurance or annuity application. The rules were sent out earlier in the contest, and we have some great individuals that qualified for big numbers of teams. And this bracket was not released early, so this is not going to have to be moved up to get this out to the masses, so we don't have to run into trouble getting it released like
We had some
ESPN
good
did.
internal controls this year.
Yes,
so.
it's good to have all that behind us, and I'm sad to say that ESPN was not able to keep this under control as we were.
That's right.
Is that right, Chris? So we'll go back. Betty G has Oklahoma, Louisville, and Duke. Duke seems to be the team of choice this year, Chris, and I think it's pretty much the field against Duke. Is that kind of your thought on that?
That is my thought. It's hard to bet against Zion.
It is.
He's a beast.
He is a beast, and he's back playing well, so we'll see what he can do here the next few weeks and get those wins behind him. We have Betty Ann W. has Nevada. Nevada's kind of a underdog team. I was listening to the radio during lunch, and the guy was big on Nevada. He thought Nevada might go Final 8, Final 4. We'll see how they do this year. Bradley B. has Auburn and Vermont. Brian B. has St. Louis. Bruce G. has Marquette, Big East team. We've been following them this year. They had the big upset victory against Creighton here, where Creighton basically gave them the game at the last second.
That is true.
So that was a battle. We've got Brian G. has Utah State, and Candace L. has New Mexico State. So New Mexico State's another team that's kind of a long shot that could do some damage here in the tournament. So we'll go ahead and hand it off to Chris. I'll go through our next line of names and teams. Go ahead, Chris.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah, so here we have Cannon P. He's got Florida, Murray State, Minnesota, and Cincinnati. Carol S. has Kentucky and
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yes,
Yeah.
which won last night. They have one victory behind them. It's their first victory ever in the NCAA tournament, so
That's true.
congratulations to them.
Yeah. Carolyn B. has Colgate, Wofford, and Florida State. Casey M. has Iowa State, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Wisconsin, the winner of NCC, and North Dakota State. We have she has Michigan State, Northern Kentucky, St. Mary's, K-State, and Tennessee.
That's a mouthful right there.
Yeah.
She qualified for the most teams so far, so
Yeah, I like her chances.
congratulations, Casey. If you only had Duke in that lineup, she would really be doing some damage.
Yeah, she'd have pretty much the monopoly on the tournament at that point.
Yes, she would.
So, then Charlene J. has Iona, Abilene Christian, Purdue, VCU, and Utah State. It's a pretty good mix there.
Mm-hmm.
Charles H. has Baylor. Charles M. has Mississippi State. Christine K. has Liberty and Houston. Christopher P. has Oregon, Gardner Webb, LSU, Villanova, Washington, and Gonzaga. And Claude H. has Syracuse.
Man, that's a bunch of teams right there.
Sure is.
And what we did for people that have not participated in this before is we randomly draw these teams. So we go through all 64 teams, we hand them all out the first time around. We go back to the next individual and hand out, the next group of names, hand out the next 64 teams. So every team has been handed out 4 or 5 times based on these drawings. It's not like one person, like Duke's going to be handed out 20 times and Gardner Webb's going to be handed out twice. Everyone's handed out the same number, so it's completely random. We use a little balls, numbers on them, 1 through 64, and they're handed out that way. So everyone had an even chance of drawing all the teams. No fixing at all in this contest.
Nope.
So that's good that we can get those all taken care of. So I'll go ahead and continue. We've got Colina C with Iowa. We have Craig W with North Carolina. Carolina's going to be a very good team this year. It'll be a tough out.
Very tough.
A lot of people are finishing them in the final 2 with Duke, so we'll see if both those ACC teams can get through the brackets like they're expected to. Curtis G has UC Irvine, who's usually a really good baseball team, so
Yeah.
good to see them in the NCAA basketball tournament. Curtis B has Old Dominion, Yale, Seton Hall, and Louisville. So he has a couple long shots there with Old Dominion and Yale. See
Yeah.
those Ivy League teams can do much damage this year.
Yeah.
In fact, people are picking them. I think they play LSU, do they not? Based on the first round there. I think they do play LSU. And LSU actually has their coach on probation, so it'll be interesting how they handle that
Yep, it
in
will.
the NCAA tournament. So we'll go ahead to Daniel N. has Belmont, and they race horses there, don't they?
They do.
Belmont Stakes. So Belmont is another underdog team that could do some damage. David S. has UCF, Duke, and LSU. So he's got a really good team there in Duke. David S. with the middle initial A has Purdue, North Carolina Central, and North Dakota State winner, and Michigan State. So Michigan State looks to be a very solid team here going into the tournament. David G has Marquette. David H has Cincinnati, Wofford, and St. Louis. And David P has Michigan State. So David P's got a good selection there with Michigan State. We'll go ahead and head back to Chris again.
Thank you. David M. P. has St. John, the winner of St. John and
Arizona State.
Arizona State. That's right.
Yep.
David M. has
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson. Yep.
That's a tough one to remember, isn't it?
It sure is.
That's a battle to get that one
They're
through.
no push though. They can they can make a run.
They could.
David N. has Seton Hall, Kansas, Oregon, UCF, and Iowa.
And knowing how much of a Jayhawk fan you are, you're probably going to be staying up late to watch that game there in Kansas.
It's definitely possible.
That could be a tough one for you.
Diana R. has North Carolina.
Now, do you realize that North Carolina and Kansas can meet up in the final 8
They could.
in Kansas City? So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Could be a road trip.
In that region. That could be a good road trip, and could be a very difficult ticket there in Kansas City.
It could.
Yes.
So then we have Dean C. He has Kentucky, Ohio State, Texas Tech, K-State, and Vermont. Deborah P. has Virginia Tech, UC Irvine, Michigan, and Buffalo. Diane J. has Old Dominion, not to be confused with the country music band.
Mm-hmm.
Don W. has Gonzaga. Donald G. has Colgate, which I thought was just the toothpaste brand before this, but
Good toothpaste. I'm
Yeah.
not sure about their basketball team, so we'll have to see if they can
we'll have to
brush
see.
it up, as they say.
Douglas R. has Baylor and Virginia Tech. With that, I'll turn it back over to you, Matt.
Yes, we'll have to figure out another team for Mr. Doug R, because it looks like you got 2 of the same teams. So that could be tough to have them win twice.
They could.
Unless they play each other, and you have a guaranteed victor there.
That's right.
So Edward D actually has Nevada. Edward H has Florida State, Gardner Webb, New Mexico State. Alon S. has Iona. Emily S. has Yale. Eric P. has Bradley. Erlen D. has Northern Kentucky. Evan S. has VCU, Murray State, Virginia Tech, Abilene, and Villanova. So that's a number of teams for Evan. Frank R. has Virginia. Frida W. has Utah State. Garth W., similar to Garth Brooks, has Auburn. So Southeastern Conference team there. That could be
They're no push.
tough out there. Gary L. has Oklahoma, St. Mary's, Louisville, Houston, Liberty, Wisconsin, Belmont, Minnesota, and Marquette. So Gary L., you have a whole slew of teams there. Hopefully some of those teams will advance for you. George P. has St. Louis. George M. has Georgia State. Jerry H. has Ole Miss. Greg L. has Mississippi State and Northeastern. Harry J. has Massachusetts. Hank D. has Montana and Virginia. Hilda J. has Washington. Hugh B. has Iowa State. Ron B. has Syracuse. There's a lot of names here. Sora N. has Tennessee. Jack B. has Florida. CJ C. has Ole Miss. James G. has Wolford, Nevada, and Louisville. James B. has Washington, Kentucky, Iona, Virginia, St. Louis, Villanova, Gardner-Webb, Florida, St. Louis, Florida State, Belmont, and K-State. So he is a man with many teams.
It's a pretty strong portfolio.
He's got a very good portfolio there. Hopefully some of those Florida teams will advance, and Virginia's got a #1 seed there, and Kentucky's always a tough team in the tournament, so we'll see how the Wildcats do. James G. has Tennessee. James M. has Fairleigh Dickinson. James H. has Wisconsin, and James W. has Iowa. You're up, Chris.
All right. Jasmine P. has Maryland, VCU, and Purdue. Jason P. has
Montana.
The winner of Arizona State and St. John's, North Carolina, Baylor, and Oregon.
You having a tough time reading my writing there, or you just don't know your initials for states?
Could
A
be
little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Yeah, it's a battle. Let me tell you.
It is. It sure is.
Yes.
JS has Utah State and K-State.
He's full of states.
He is.
He needs to move on.
Yeah. Jeff B. has Oklahoma. Jeffrey O. has LSU. Gerald N. has the winner of
North Carolina.
North Carolina Central and North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
Joel J. has Seton Hall and Buffalo. Seton Hall's made a bit of a run there in the Big East, so they'll be a team to look out for. John M. has Old Dominion. John G. has Auburn and St. Mary's. John H. has Gonzaga. Jonathan C. has Northeastern. Joseph G. has Liberty. Joseph D. has Iowa State and Virginia Tech. Kelly F. has
New Mexico State.
New Mexico State. And UC
Irvine.
Irvine. New Mexico State's a team to watch out for.
Yes. What's their nickname? The Cowboys?
I think they...
Jackrabbits?
No. It's the Aggies.
The Aggies.
That's
all
what
right.
they are.
The Aggies. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I'm smelling like an upset or two by that.
They're pretty
good
strong. They could do some damage out there out west.
They could. And we have Kelly F. That's the one that I just did. We have Kelvin W. has Murray State.
Excellent. We'll keep this rolling. We got Kenneth D. has Central Florida. Ken H. has Yale. Kevin H. has Mississippi State. Kyle J. has Kansas. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. Larry S. has Ohio State and North Carolina. A couple of good Big Five conference teams there. Leo D has Georgia State. Leo Q has Duke, so another Duke out there. Leslie S has Florida State and Texas Tech. Linda B has Mississippi State or Michigan State, my bad. Locke T has Minnesota and Abilene Christian. Mark H has Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, Bradley, Michigan, and Houston. Mark R has Colgate. Mark D has Marquette. Mark H has Syracuse. Mark V has Vermont. And Matthew S has Seton Hall in Ole Miss. I believe you're up, sir.
I am.
His first name is Michael.
Yes, Michael B. He
Michael
has
B.
Michigan State and St. Mary's. Michael S. has K-State. Michael A. has Wisconsin, Auburn, and Iowa. Michael W. has Virginia. Michael S.W. has Liberty, Vermont, and Marquette. We have a lot of Michaels.
You notice the handwriting has changed on this page. It's a little more difficult for me to read.
Yeah,
Must be a right-handed person writing on this page here, so let's see how this plays
it
out.
could be.
Yes.
Mitchell W. has UC Irvine and Yale. Ned S. has Oregon. Nick Z. has Texas Tech and Abilene Christian. Orinetta R. has Ohio State and the winner of St. John's and Arizona State. Patricia S. has North Carolina and Iona. Patrick G. has Northern Kentucky. Another Patrick G. has Murray State and Montana. Paul D. has Purdue. Perry O. has Baylor, Bradley, UCF, LSU, and VCU.
A lot of initials there at that one.
Yeah,
It's tough to throw out there all at once.
it is.
You must have practiced that a couple of times.
More than once. Philip A. has Oklahoma. Philip B. has Georgia State and Duke. Philip S. has Cincinnati. And Kixia C. has Old Dominion.
We'll go ahead and finish out our initial teams for the first weekend. And for those that are waiting to get more teams, when you get into the tournament, we are going to be expanding our qualification period through next Wednesday, the 27th of March. So if your teams get eliminated this weekend, you can qualify for more teams based on more business. If you write business between today and next Wednesday, you will automatically have teams in the Sweet 16. So you'll have much better chances of winning the whole tournament, especially if you drew Colgate, Old Dominion, Gardner-Webb, some of those lower seeded teams. You will have more chances to obtain more teams based on getting more business in. So good luck on that. Ralph S., we have Mississippi State and VCU. Ralph G., we have Florida State. Ralph B., we have Villanova. Rebecca H., we have Iowa State and Colgate. Richard M. has North Carolina Central and North Dakota State winner. Richard S. has Minnesota. Richard P. has Buffalo. Other Richard TP is in TP, whatever that may stand for, has Virginia Tech, and Richard P., also a very good stock car driver, has Utah State. So we'll hand the reins over to Chris, and he'll go ahead and hit the next group. Is it still my turn? Actually, it is. I hit my number here, so I'm going to continue. Robert C. has Belmont, G-Webb, and Maryland. Robert D.C., which is a state in itself, has LSU. Robert B. has Houston and Washington. Robert K. has Kentucky. Ron B. has Syracuse and Duke, so Duke's out there again. So Robert B., congratulations. You have some excellent chances of getting to the Final Four. Ronald J. has St. Louis and Kansas. Ronald M. has Florida and Gonzaga. And Ronald W. Jr. has Tennessee and New Mexico State. So with that note, we'll go ahead and hand over to Chris again, and he can go through his list of teams.
Ronald W. has Louisville and Michigan. Russell S. has Northeastern. Ryan V. has
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Fairleigh Dickinson again. Nevada. Nevada.
Nevada, is that a new pronunciation for Nevada?
It is, yeah.
All right, you gotta
So
stop
it's
drinking.
my accent coming out.
You gotta stop drinking so much.
Michigan and Buffalo. Then Ryan M. has Wofford. Scott B. has Murray State and K-State. Scott H. has Auburn, Marquette, and Colgate. Scott D. has St. Louis, Northern Kentucky, and the winner of Arizona State and St. John's. Seth G. has UCF. Stanley G. has Oregon, the winner of North Dakota State, and North Carolina Central.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen M. has Ohio State, Old Dominion, and Georgia State.
Now, Stephen M. actually won the entire tournament last year, and he had Villanova. He only drew like 1 or 2 teams, so good luck, Steve, so you can go back to back.
Yeah, could be a repeat. We'll
Yes.
see. Stephen C. has Purdue.
That's an interesting way of spelling Purdue, don't you believe?
I do believe.
Yes.
But
So-
the point was made though.
It was.
She made her point. So
It was,
So,
as you hear it, you gotta write it
knew what she
down.
meant,
Yes, as
so-
long as you can read it, that's the key.
That's right. Steve S. has Bradley. Let's not forget about what happened to KU back in '06. I mean,
That's true.
Bradley, they could pull an upset.
They could do the upset.
I don't see it happening, but it could. Stephen M. has Virginia Tech. Stephen D. has Minnesota. Stephen S. has Belmont. Stephen L. S. has UC Irvine. Terrence L. has Abilene, Syracuse, Duke, Mississippi State, Washington, Florida State, Fairleigh Dickinson, and North Carolina.
Looks like Terry L is either feast or famine. He's got some of the better seeds. He also has some of the lower rated seeds. So
Yeah, he's diversifying for
he's
sure.
very diversified, and hopefully that Terry L can advance to the next level with the Carolinas and the Dukes. Washington's kind of the sleeper team out of the Pac-12, so we'll see what kind of damage they can do there.
Yeah,
So I'll go ahead and continue this process here.
sounds good.
Thomas H has Wisconsin. Thomas D. W has Virginia. TJ has Scott. Wait, Scott. That's like your high school, isn't it?
As a matter of fact, it was.
It was your high school.
Yeah.
Man, how did they get in the tournament?
They're good.
They
They're
must be
very
good, but unfortunately, he has.
They don't recruit, contrary to what people think. They don't actually
They don't recruit.
So it's just for the record.
They could probably beat the team he has in G Web. So
They could.
we'll have to see how that plays out. TJ, you also have Iowa. So Iowa could be a good team for him.
They could.
Timothy L has Kansas, Utah State, and Syracuse. Tim P has Iowa State. The Tim R has Colgate and Maryland. Troy E has Yale and Seton Hall. So a couple of good teams there. And Venus R has Houston, Vermont, and Nevada. So some great teams there for Venus R. We'll go ahead and switch it back to you, Chris.
All right. Oh, we have Vincent A, who has Montana. Wee T has Oklahoma. Wendell B has Michigan State and Liberty.
Did you say you got the we?
Yeah.
We
and the T.
And the T, okay.
So.
Just making sure.
Yep. So then.
Did I throw you off?
No.
All right, just making sure.
Yeah, you're keeping me on my feet.
I am. We're standing. That's why we're on our feet.
Exactly. So Wendell B has Michigan State and Liberty. Wendell S has Villanova. William C has Ole Miss. William L has Kentucky. William M has Northeastern.
Is that M as in Mary?
M as in Mary.
There's a lot of Williams you have there. It must have been a very popular name back in the 50s
Yeah.
or 60s.
Yep.
All right. We'll keep moving forward.
We will. William H has New Mexico State and Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And William B has Iona. A
Iona.
team that's made the tournament the last 4 years in a row. So,
Have they won a game in the tournament, though? I don't believe
No.
they have.
but
They need to be in the playing games.
there's something to be said about
They'd have
that.
a better
They could-
chance.
They could do some damage. We'll
Yes,
see.
they can do damage.
I'm not confident, but we'll see.
All right, we'll go ahead and move forward then on your confidence. Andre K has Michigan. Andrea P has Oregon. Brian P has Buffalo. Brian H. has Abilene and Yale. Charles G. has Fairleigh Dickinson, another FDU. They seem to be a very popular team of choice this year.
Fairly popular.
Yes. Deborah C. has Cincinnati. Dennis D. has Arizona State. Heather P. has Auburn. And James G. has Wisconsin. And Jared M. has Gardner-Webb in Houston. So, some great teams there. We handed out there for those fine individuals. So, we'll go ahead and kick it back to Chris.
All right. Joel J. has Liberty. John D. has Villanova and Iowa State. Kyle F. has Washington. Lynette G. has the winner of North Dakota State and NCC. And Northeastern. Two very strong teams.
Very strong. That's going to be
Okay,
some battles there between those squads, I'll tell you.
That's right. Max L. has Oklahoma. Michael L. has Iowa. Robert O. has Murray State. Robert W. has Ohio State and Iona. Roland D. has Mississippi State. Sammy N. has Kentucky. Timothy M. has UC Irvine. And Wayne R. has Maryland.
And Randy R. has Northern Kentucky. So, congratulations to everyone that has made the tournament this year. Should be a great weekend of games. We'll have a lot of updates in the next 2 weeks. I know we'll do our first cash drawing tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central. We'll have a $100 winner. It's going to be very exciting for that big winner. We'll be sending checks out immediately. And it should be a interesting first weekend. See how many upsets we have. See what happens going into the Sweet 16. And we should have a really good block of agents that do qualify for that second weekend. Anything you want to wrap up with here, Chris?
No, I think that you pretty much covered it right there. So it's an exciting time of year, and I think that if you pick for those that are actually making brackets, if they picked an ACC team, they probably have a pretty good shot because 3 of the 4 1 seeds are from the ACC.
That's very true. Who's your pick this year, Chris?
I got to go with Duke.
You're going with Duke.
I think if Zion's on the court, they're going to win.
I think they're going to take the whole thing.
That's right.
I'm taking North Carolina upsetting Duke in the final.
Yeah.
Because they lost that final in the ECC tournament. We'll see how they can do in this next round of games. And with my luck, neither Duke or North Carolina make the finals. It'll be somebody else. So
maybe Fairleigh Dickinson.
It could be Fairleigh Dickinson. We'll see how they do. Otherwise, everyone have a great week. Enjoy the weekend games, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye now.